Welcome to the 700 Club. 75 years ago today, Allied forces landed in France. The D-Day invasion drove out the Nazis and eventually ended the war in Europe.
Today, President Trump and France's President Macron honored the men who took the Normandy beaches, and some of those men, well into their 90s, were on hand. CBN's Jenna Browder reports.
Remembering D-Day 75 years later, a 21-gun salute, flyover, and joint French and American playing of taps to mark the beginning of victory over Nazi Germany and honor the Allied troops who carried out the strike. 60 surviving veterans were in attendance. President Trump thanking them in his own words.
You are among the very greatest Americans who will ever live. You are the pride of our nation. You are the glory of our republic. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
And French President Emmanuel Macron bestowing 5 Americans with France's highest honor. 97-year-old paratrooper Tom Rice landed on the beaches of Normandy in 1944, and this week reenacted the jump alongside a plane load of current members of his 101st Airborne Unit.
Great. Beautiful drive, beautiful jump, beautiful flight. Everything was perfect.
The landing, he says, not perfect, but Tom proving he is still tough as nails.
The D-Day jump. I landed standing up for the most part and then went down to my knees and bounced a couple times because I had so much equipment. And I had a difficult time getting out of that equipment.
It's that same toughness thousands displayed on D-Day.
I don't want anybody to forget this. It's too important. It's just too important to our country.
As the greatest generation passes on, about 300 World War II vets die every day. Presidents Macron and Trump both vowed never to forget.
May God bless our great veterans. May God bless our allies. May God bless the heroes of D-Day. And may God bless America.
And before the ceremony, President Trump and the First Lady visited the French cemetery where more than 9,000 troops are buried. After this, he heads to Ireland to conclude his European trip. Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Well, it's been called, and it is, the greatest generation. And if you know a veteran of World War II, please thank them. This is a wonderful day of remembrance, those who fell on the beaches of Normandy, but through their sacrifice, an incredible victory was won and the modern world was shaped. But we need another great generation. We're facing so many challenges today. We need to rise up to those challenges and say, yes, if that generation can do it, our generation can do it. In other news, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi told Democratic leaders that as far as President Trump is concerned, impeachment isn't enough. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. She wants to go further. Speaker Pelosi saying she wants to see the president, quote, in prison. Politico reports Pelosi made those remarks in a Tuesday night meeting with senior Democrats as she disagreed with House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler. He reportedly pushed Pelosi to let his committee start an impeachment inquiry, but Pelosi still opposes that idea. She said, quote, I don't want to see him impeached. I want to see him in prison. She wants Trump defeated in next year's election, then prosecuted for his alleged crimes. Well, top American and Mexican officials continue in delicate talks today, hoping to stop U.S. tariffs from going into effect Monday. Vice President Mike Pence met with Mexican officials Wednesday for an hour and a half. The administration wants Mexico to work harder to stop the flow of Central American migrants heading to the United States border. The president threatening a 5% tariff on all Mexican imports starting next week, with steady increases if the situation does not improve. The president tweeting ahead of today's negotiations, progress is being made, but not nearly enough. Border arrests are at 133,000 because of Mexico and the Democrats in Congress refusing to budge on immigration reform. Democrats and Republicans responded to the president's tough talk.
This is not a way to treat a friend. It's not a way to deal with immigration.
I think there's going to be an agreement and there won't be any tariffs.
The number of illegal immigrants detained in May is a 30% increase over April and the highest in 13 years. While many Senate Republicans believe tariffs will hurt the U.S. economy, they also share the president's desire to stop the flow of illegal immigration. CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson spoke with some lawmakers who may not like the idea of tariffs, but believe the threat could create leverage to help resolve the crisis at the southern border.
In a rare rebuke of the administration, Senate Republican leadership warns President Trump to abandon the proposed 5% increase on Mexican goods set to take effect Monday, or they'll vote to block them.
We're not fans of tariffs. We're still hoping that this can be avoided.
Trump has threatened to raise tariffs as high as 25% by October, and doesn't appear worried by party pushback.
No, I don't think they will do that. I think if they do, it's foolish. There's nothing more important than borders.
Although he could be misreading the GOP concern over how tariffs might affect the economy.
A veto might be overridden. That's my sense.
Texas Congressman Michael Cloud agrees with Trump that Mexico should step up.
There's a number of things that Mexico could do to be participating with this problem. Cartels have such an entrenched position in their country, and they've allowed it to fester into a cancer. And we'd be happy to partner with them in helping solve that problem.
And argues some good just might come from the president's threat.
The president threw out the idea of imposing tariffs, and it got Mexico on the plane the next day. So I think it's a negotiating strategy. We'll see. But the goal is to get Mexico to act.
Senator Mike Braun agrees.
And I think it's refreshing to see that there's a new dynamic to where we just won't keep kicking everything down the road.
But hopes the tariffs never take effect.
I would hate to see it put in peril, the replacement for NAFTA.
Arguing Mexico is one of our biggest trading partners.
I think it also could have the effect of maybe impacting the economy, and that's the strongest thing that we've got to talk about to get President Trump reelected.
Despite strong Senate GOP opposition to tariffs they believe tax American consumers, the party's still united in supporting the president on border security.
President Trump is 100% right in terms of what we need to do at the border.
Senator Marco Rubio is breaking with party leadership, acknowledging in a tweet he doesn't like tariffs. But what alternative do my GOP colleagues have to get Mexico to secure its southern border? Trump signaled this week he's not bluffing and believes it's more likely the tariffs take effect Monday than reaching a solution through negotiations, creating a strong possibility of the first veto override of his presidency. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abigail. The Trump administration is ending fetal tissue research at the National Institutes of Health, but government-funded research at some private universities will continue for now. The Department of Health and Human Services said it's seeking to consider both pro-life and pro-science perspectives in its decision. Scientists say fetal tissue research has helped fight diseases like rubella and HIV, while pro-life advocates say using fetal tissue from elective abortions is immoral and unethical. Well, the memorial site of the 12 victims killed in Virginia Beach last Friday has become a gathering spot for those who want to grieve and pay their respects. Chaplains with the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team have been there all week to offer prayer to those who need it. Chaplain coordinator Bob Poff told CBN News about a special moment he had after a local pastor encouraged everyone to pick one victim's family to pray for.
Contractor, because my father was a contractor. And Sunday afternoon, I met his granddaughter. Yesterday, I was able to meet his family, parents and wife and son. And that was very moving for me to be able to think that's who I'm praying for. And then I was able to pray with them in person.
Tonight's Virginia Beach Remember service honoring the victims and their families will be held at Virginia Beach's Rock Church. You can watch it live on the CBN News channel beginning at 7:30. And Gordon, planners are expecting a packed house tonight.
Yes, they are, and we need to remember these victims. We also need to help them. The financial needs are huge. The funerals have all now been paid for, but we're still looking for funding to help these victims, their families, those affected by this horrible shooting. If you want to participate in that, all you have to do is call us, 1-800-700-7000. We set up a special Operation Blessing Fund for victims of Virginia Beach shooting. You can write us and send us a check, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, or you can go to the website, cbn.com/VB shooting victims, and show your support for these victims tangibly by giving a gift. Do it now, 1-800-700-7000.